What up, everybody? I got something here from Lily T. Um, I like to call this the F around and find out. Let's get into it.
AT Sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. So it is a lot going on right now in the news. So I wanted to talk to you guys about what went down yesterday. If you guys do not know, on Monday, April 28th, a massive, unprecedented blackout happened, and it basically plunged all of Spain and Portugal into absolute darkness. And you guys know that's one of the things I've talked about here in America is that if the grid ever goes down and we don't have power, we don't have electricity, expect for shit to hit the fan. So yesterday about 12 p.m. local time in Spain, the grid went out. The blackout brought public transportation to a complete standstill. People couldn't use their phones. Subways and trains that were mid-journey basically halted on the tracks. People, were in cars. The street lights didn't work. It was a mess. Telecommunication was severely impacted. People were impacted that were in the hospitals. The hospitals had to rely on emergency generators, and they didn't know when the lights would be back on, so that was very scary. Numerous people found themselves also trapped in elevators. So imagine how scary that is. You're going upstairs to work and you're stuck in the elevator literally all day. Nobody can get you out. By late evening, the power had been restored to about 50% of the population of Spain and Portugal, and it made people just erupt and, cheers. But this just goes to show you how dependent we are on electricity, on technology. So this was really frightening. So now a lot of other countries are like, well, if this happens in the UK, if this happens in the US, what can we do? So I'm going to go ahead and play you guys some of these clips. Y'all go ahead and check this out.
These two countries combined, Spain and Portugal, you're talking about a population of 50 million people combined. This is massive. Nothing is working. The trains are not working. The underground metro system is not working. People were seen walking out of a dark tunnel with their flashlights on their phones. The Madrid Open tennis tournament as well had to be suspended. Players had to walk off the court mid-match because the scoreboards, the cameras as well, everything shut down. In Spain, power is starting to come back in certain parts of the region, but millions remain without power at the moment.
You're telling me people are stuck in Spain and Portugal, and there's a current nationwide power outage, and they're saying it's because of environmental reasons? What is that even supposed to mean, y'all? So they're saying that a slight change, the very slightest change in the weather, caused the power lines to basically be taken out. There are rumors of this being a cyber attack potentially, but y'all, people in Spain and Portugal can't even use their debit cards. Like, imagine if you only had your phone or Apple Pay or something like that. They can't even use their debit card. They only can use cash. People cannot get on planes and fly back home that traveled there or visited there. There is no way to get back home. They are stuck there until further notice. They're saying it could take weeks to get the power back on, but it also might take hours. It is undetermined because they're not sure 100% what the issue is, and they need their engineers to determine what's going on and what caused this problem, because they're saying this has never happened since basically like 2010 during the Russia-Ukraine war. But y'all, this is crazy. Honestly, I feel like something's going on and they don't want to tell us because what is going on? Like, this is not normal. People can't use their debit cards.
At a roundabout in the Spanish capital, cars line the roads, crossing at all angles, the traffic lights without power. And it's a similar story in the Portuguese capital of Lisbon, the cause a major power outage across the two countries. Causing chaos for travellers, these rail passengers stranded in Valencia, some even walking along the railway lines, many without any information anywhere across the country.
But hasn't Europe been having an energy problem for years, though? The U.S. has been having energy problems for years. Europe been having energy problems for years. Why have we not solved our energy problems? Just a question.
Three. I'm very cut off at the moment. I'm on the 13th floor and getting very little information other than what little I can see through the Spanish web pages because as well as obviously losing Wi-Fi, the cellular network, I don't know whether you can hear me at the moment, but the cellular network has been very sketchy.
And across Spain, queues for buses like these travellers in Barcelona, told not to drive unless it's necessary.
Minimicemos los desplazamientos, quedémonos donde.
Limit your movements, stay where you are, keep traffic lanes free, and if the emergency services don't pick up your call, head straight to the police and fire station so we can try and resolve things as soon as possible and to be able to get to all the emergencies that are happening.
There's been a similar clampdown on travel in Portugal too. Barriers to their underground stations closed. The last passengers inside recording this. An empty station apart from a few needing torchlight. A different scene to Lisbon Airport, where hundreds of passengers wait for delayed flights. Planes at major airports in both Portugal and Spain delayed. Also delayed play at the Madrid Open. Empty courts at the annual clay tournament when scoreboards and match cameras lost power.
I didn't sleep that well last night, so maybe I just need to not get a lot of sleep.
I think we've just lost a bit of sound there.
The dropout blamed on Spain's electricity grid. Portuguese grid officials say due to extreme temperature variations in the interior of Spain, there were anomalous oscillations in the very high voltage lines, a phenomenon known as induced atmospheric vibration. It is estimated that full normalization of the network could take up to a week.
Spain and Portugal are investigating what caused yesterday's wide-scale power outage, one of the most serious blackouts Europe has ever experienced. Power has almost been fully restored to millions of customers, although there is still severe disruption to travel after flights were grounded and trains were brought to a standstill, leaving passengers stranded for hours.
Tonight, massive traffic jams across major European cities like Madrid after a vast outage knocked out power across Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. Tens of millions impacted as rail travel ground to a halt. Flights across Europe were cancelled, and subway stations plunged into darkness. Families following emergency lighting to get back to the surface.
Everything started kind of going, awkward as our phones stopped working, the lights in the hotel went out.
Phone service and ATMs also knocked out, in another alarming example of the power grid's fragility. Spain's Prime Minister tonight saying the cause is still a mystery. While in Spanish supermarkets there was panic buying. And at the Madrid Open, the blackout halting play and cutting off Coco Gauff's post-match interview.
Not get a lot of sleep.
The American star later posting from darkened locker rooms. And the Spanish government says tonight the power is starting to come back on, while the European Union is saying at this point there's no indication this was caused by a cyber attack. Lester
Graf Sanchez, thank you.
Whether we like it or not, the entire planet has a problem when it comes to energy. Sorry about this ad.
So now in other news, it's just gotten real. Today's been a very news-heavy day, and I've been trying to be on top of it. So let's go ahead and start with what UPS announced today. If you guys remember, I've been covering the truckers and the trucker shortage and all the drama over the years that was going on with UPS. Remember, they were fighting for higher wages. They ended up winning their higher wages, only for it to be announced today, about maybe 2-3 hours ago, that they are planning on cutting over 20,000 jobs this year. It's a part of their cost-cutting effort that's linked to the delivery giant's decision to deliver fewer packages from Amazon, their biggest customers. So they're also going to be closing several facilities as well. So this is going to be affecting a lot of people. And one of the reasons, of course, is greed. They don't want to pay all these people that they promised to up their pay just 2 years ago. But another thing is there's not enough product coming in. You know, the ports are struggling right now. Things are getting more and more empty, so you can't have a bunch of people delivering goods that are not there. Amazon, Target, Home Depot had a meeting last week with the White House basically stating that they are struggling and that, goods are not coming in. So we're seeing that trickle-down effect that I've been talking about for the past few months. So now on top of that, this is what else is going on today. Early this morning, Jeff Bezos said that he was going to start showing more transparency on Amazon.com and show what tariffs, would be doing to the price. So let's say you have a price, for a shirt, he would also include the tariff price so that way people would know, like, this shirt is more expensive because of the tariffs. So one of the correspondents at the White House, they asked Carolyn Levitt this, and she basically went off and called it almost treason. Like, she was really upset. So I want you guys to go ahead and watch this. She's saying it's like a hostile, political move. And I'm like, for him to be honest and, show clarity, that's crazy. But y'all go ahead and check this out.
It was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect, crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this, since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply.
Ladies and gentlemen, that ain't nothing more. What you just said is straight propaganda. That's it and that's all.
Chain and boost our own manufacturing.
All right, so you guys just saw that video. Now, breaking news, not even an hour ago, somebody done tapped Jeff Bezos on the shoulder because basically Trump just talked to him, and so they asked Trump about the meeting, and he's saying he's a very good guy. In layman's terms, he ain't about to post that shit. We nipped it in the bud.
Yeah, basically.
Y'all go ahead and check this out.
This pressure washer is great to keep at home and super easy to use. The hose is 100.
Y'all go ahead and check this out.
Great. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He
was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly, and he did the right thing, and he's a good guy.
All right, so you guys just saw that. So it is getting crazy. But what's even crazier, if you guys do not know, the ports. The ports are emptying. The ports in California, Seattle, even on the East Coast, the ports are not porting. The ships are not shipping. The packages are not packaging, okay? It is getting real. People are out there. They're showing real live receipts,
These
video
damn
footage.
tariffs.
China has literally stopped all shipments. Except
See? Everything she just said is proof that the tariffs are not working. The tariffs are not working. The tariffs are a waste of time.
for maybe really vital stuff, fingers crossed, medication. But the only thing I really heard is like semiconductors and certain technological things that we may need that they're still shipping. But other stuff has all been put on hold right now. So you got factories shutting down over there. They're not shipping anything to us over here. Hence the ports are empty. So you're going to start seeing longshoremen who fought.
How are we going to ship anything when the stuff costs almost just as much to make in some cases as it is to ship? What's the point in paying twice for something you paid for? It's really no point. And that's why the tariffs are a waste of time.
To get higher wages, they're going to start getting laid off. Dock workers are going to start getting laid off. Truckers are going to start getting laid off. You know, and then again, the whole trickle-down effect, the grocery stores are getting more and more empty. I've been saying this for the past few weeks. I was showing y'all videos in the Discord how my local Walmart was starting to look. Ordinarily, you never see the black, casing at the bottom because it's filled with such fresh fruits and stuff. Now you're seeing all that black plastic at the bottom. The fruits are literally molding. It is really sad what's going on in the grocery stores. And if it's not happening in your area, consider yourself lucky. It may not be happening now, but 2-3 weeks from now, you guys could be experiencing the same thing. That's why I've been pushing for so long for folks to start gardening, planting something. I don't care if you're planting lettuce. Start planting something to try to offset the cost and offset, these empty shelves. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what is going on. I'm going to show you guys these clips. People talking about it on social media. People are sounding the alarms. It's getting real out here, y'all. Y'all go ahead and check this out.
UPS says it will be cutting 20,000 jobs because of an uncertain economy. The shipping giant also plans to close dozens of facilities by the end of June. UPS says the cuts and closures are because of a slowdown in shipping due to the fallout from the trade war. The company anticipates weaker volumes from Amazon, which is its largest customer.
I'm going to try to record this. This is like the third time, but I'll be interrupted. So I was listening to Hassan Pike this morning about the empty shelves and that the ports are going to be empty coming soon. And he was calling it the tsunami. And he's not joking when he says that. Because if you look at it, once those last cargo ships come, that's it. It's done. And once they get to store shelves, that is it. And the fact that this is being compared worse than COVID is scary as shit. There's going to be so much job loss, not job growth that our Trump keeps on touting, and the fact that the first people that are going to get laid off are your transportation people. So it's going to be like your trucking industry, your FedEx, your UPS, your people that work on the ports laid off. And then eventually people in the automotive industry will be laid off. And then it'll trickle down to your retail and your fast food and restaurants. Yeah, dude, this is a scary time. And I'm trying to keep calm in this.
what I know the outcome that's gonna be probably. Because I remember COVID, and those grocery store shelves were crazy, and the prices were insane. And the fact that we're going to that path, if not worse, is more crazy. I don't know, man. I think this is the turning point, though. The only good outcome of this problem is that you're going to see a lot of Republicans, a lot of Trump voters, and then, of course, all the Democratic Party try to get Trump out. In all honesty, because he's going to tank the economy. I mean, there's going to be a shit ton of job loss, and affordability at the grocery store is not going to be a thing. So, with that being said, I think a lot of his supporters are going to be like, I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for my job to be lost or me be laid off until further notice, or I didn't expect my groceries to be this high, or if not higher, or now I can't get this special item at the grocery store because you don't know when it's going to come in. That kind of thing. And it's going to be a turning.
Mino just dropped a new scent, Cedar Grove. I'm about to see what it smells like. So ordered this brand new stick. Never smelled it before.
And it's going to be a turning point for Trump. It's going to be a thing that's going to implode in his face. And I'm here for it. I think this is going to be the turning point, but at the same time, it's going to do so much damage to us as Americans and the economy.
It's not going.
Washington people, listen up. This is really fucking big.
It's not going to do damage just to the United States of America. The damage, whether people like it or not, it's going to be global. If it's not global already.
There are no international ships at the shipping ports in Seattle right now, and the last one is scheduled for the 29th. That means that major supply chain issues are gonna start happening.
And the 29th was yesterday. Think about that. The 29th was yesterday. Let's continue.
Happening really fucking soon and really fast. Basics, household items, things that we buy every day that are from international areas, China, Canada, Mexico, Central America, like we get all over Asia, we get so much stuff, Europe too, from other countries, and we are seeing no international ships. Shelves are gonna empty, and we aren't gonna be able to get those things back very quickly, and prices are gonna go up like crazy, and small businesses, large businesses, all sorts of people that rely on imports and exports are gonna see huge changes, and not for the better, really soon. So if there's some essentials that you need, get those, but also remember, shop local, support your community, support your neighbors, and if you need to give money to somebody to get something, support the people in this area that need it during this time, because this is going to hit us financially so hard. Like, the consequences are hard to even, picture. It's so huge. So, prepare as you need to.
The port of Seattle is empty, and there's no more ships coming in. The last ship is coming in today, and I just saw it when I was walking my dog. This is the Marine Traffic app. I use it when I do boat deliveries, so you can tell which way cargo ships are going and how fast they are going. The cargo ships are the green arrows and the green squares. There is 4 green squares. Those are international ships. The one arrow down below me, that's an American ship. And this one above me, that is the last ship that's coming in.
This is what Vancouver, Canada's ports look like. Look at the amount of cargo ships that are here. This is what Seattle should look like. This right here is the last ship that's coming in. I saw it when I was walking my dog. That's the ship right there. Shelves in stores are going to be bare in a few weeks, and it's going to last a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks. And even if he does something before that, those ships take weeks to get here. Be prepared as much as you can. And you can download the Marine Traffic app for free, and you can check on the cargo ships yourself.
There are no more ships coming from China. Reports from Seattle, Oakland, Long Beach saying their ports are becoming empty. Very, very, very few goods are still arriving from China now, which means the trade war that Trump has enacted and the tariff plan is going to start working its way into our wallets. We're going to see a lot more empty shelves. There's going to be a lot more pricing on goods because we, as the biggest consumer against the biggest producer, will no longer be able to hold the supply that we want. Therefore, yeah, we're going to start seeing the trade war actually happen. Regardless if you voted for Trump, if you didn't, this will affect every single one of us. It has nothing to do with political notion, really. If this is what you voted for, you are about to reap what you sow. Trump has started a war with the biggest...
And I said weeks ago that this is going to lead to a global trade war. And sure enough, this guy just confirmed what I said weeks ago. And not only that, I think Lovely T herself even mentioned this weeks ago that that this was going to lead to a trade war. Let's continue. Yeah, come on.
Producer in the world as the biggest consumer in the world, so this will affect every single person living in America. Take out all the immigration issues, all the other bullshit that's happening with that administration. This is one of those gas prices, grocery prices will lower on day one. We're at day 100 something. It is not lowering, and I don't think it will in the nearby future.
Yeah, ain't nothing gonna get lower.
So Walmart and Target went to the Trump administration and said shelves will start to look empty by the summer. This is what this means. So this is the current map of outgoing, incoming shipments into China, East Asia. Pretty busy, I think everyone would agree. Each one of these is a cargo ship with hundreds of containers on it. Now typically this is what the port of LA looks like. Currently, this is what the port of LA is looking like. If you look at the number of yellow ships coming in, it's very, very low. This is not normal. These are supposed to be consumer products and all the things that we use on a daily basis. Those are not coming in. When you wonder how tariffs will affect the consumer, importers like me have asked to stop shipments coming in. We cannot afford these tariffs and we don't think our customers will pay for that. So now,
which is something else I also said weeks ago. The tariffs are going to make it hard for people to buy what they need. And not only that, the tariffs are also going to discourage trade, which means if people don't want to trade, you can't get what you want and you can't get what you need. Again, this is what happens when you F around and find out. Let's continue.
Basic supply and demand. With decreased supply, prices will go up significantly.
Facts.
Alright, well, so...
Quick lesson in supply and demand real quick. If you have a whole bunch of supply, the price goes down. Low supply, higher demand, prices go up. It is what it is.
If you go to my other videos that I've now threaded through here, right, I blocked the whole fucking port of Seattle, starting from the Coleman docks down to the second set of cranes, and there are no shipping containers. It is empty. And also, if I stand up on here, or I even, was able to, there are no ships in the harbor. There are none. Actually, okay, there is one ship. And I don't know if you guys can see this very well because
the fence, but there is one ship that's docked over there, and I think that there might be some shipping containers in the next harbor over. I'll find out. But this whole harbor, which is usually bustling and full, is empty. The only thing that's in there is some cars. It's not a false lie. And I'm sorry that you needed to be shown, but yeah, no, this harbor is empty. This harbor is empty. I posted 2 other videos as I've made this crawl. I've walked almost a mile to show you guys that this is empty. But yeah, the harbor is empty.
Why pay more for Viagra? Don't break the bank to perform your best in bed. Rose Sparks is a fast-acting, long-lasting.
You guys that this is empty. The harbor is empty. So I walked to the Seattle port so I can clarify things, and there's the first set of empty racks and like no shipping containers. You can see there's a whole shipping container right there, one, and it is an American shipping container that is for storage. So I will let you guys know what else I see. There have been no ships, and yeah, no, this is pretty fucking empty. I'm not really sure what people are trying to argue about. I will let you know what I find.
Ports are empty tonight.
Erica, this is not a joke. All these videos and stories you've heard about the ports, this is real. This is Shanghai right now on the National Aquamarine site. Every single circle here in Shanghai is a vessel that's just sitting there. Now let's take a look at America. Here's Los Angeles, one of our busiest ports. Nobody's there. I even looked at Philadelphia, New York. Nothing. Then I thought about Washington State, huge ports. Nothing. Back to China. That's what I'm saying. This is not good. So these articles are not lying. Huge decline in LA port is a hint to truckers and a stark warning of coming tariff damage? I would say so. Once again, that's LA
Damn
right
right.
now. Nothing. There's nothing there. Even Financial Times from Vision, a data provider, showed container bookings from China to the U.S. fell 45% by mid-April. I don't think they're coming, people. I mean, this shit is everywhere. Empty ports, empty shelves. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but if you see the amount of circles on this map right here in Shanghai, the world's busiest port, that means they might not be coming. I just want people to know this is real. And we have nothing going on in our ports.
Right.
What do you mean? Where would their normally be shipped?
Right here. Right there. You can see the crates right here? You should see.
Can I roll this down?
Yes. You should see on top of 3 ships just knocked. There's no ships right here in the water. You should see that cruise one? Should be ships on the other side.
Yeah, that does look empty. That's empty as hell.
You should see containers and there's nothing.
The U.S. ports are empty, and that's obviously because of the tariffs. And so I'm just counting down the days till people start going crazy in the grocery stores. Like, if the grocery stores are going to have less and less product because now everyone is aware that the ports are empty, meaning no product is coming in, so the shelves are going to start to, not be replenished. Yeah, people are going to start going in there and going crazy. Now, whether they buy the items in bulk and, do that whole thing, or they just grab the items and run the fuck out of the store, I don't know. But I'm not really blaming anyone, regardless, because this is what the fuck happens. Like, the tariffs have literally caused the ports to be empty. If the ports are empty, let's just context clues, that must mean that there's not going to be anything to put on the shelves, because there's nothing at the ports to collect, to take to the stores in order to stock the shelves with. There's nothing there. The U.S. ports are empty. fuck we are. I don't know if I'm gonna have to start growing shit and learning how to farm and shit. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just seeing the pattern right now.
Yeah, sir. Whether you like it or not, you may want to take up gardening. Just saying.
And it's not looking cute. Nothing in the U.S. ports, bitch. I think the people are about to go crazy in these stores. I really do.
So the government's not going to openly tell you guys that the ports are empty right now. They're not going to openly tell you that you need to stock up on supplies and that we probably got about 2 weeks left before this shit comes to our doorstep. So China has officially stopped exports to the U.S., so expect to see empty shelves in about 2 weeks. Of course, not everything, but the stuff that we will have is probably going to be about 10 times the amount. Expect to see hospitals closing down, as Hong Kong is one of the largest suppliers of hospital goods in the U.S., so it's not going to be many supplies. Expect to see a lot of layoffs. If products aren't coming in, that means truckers have no goods to move. Therefore, the logistics companies have really nothing to do. And then possibly hitting people who work retail, because if there's no items, no goods to put on the shelves, what are you guys going to do? And this isn't to say that things won't get back on track, but it is going to get ugly before it gets pretty. And if we're already not getting shipments, then we're going to get hit. And if China does decide to send goods, it's still going to take some time for everything to get back on track. So expect to see delays no matter what. I advise you guys to stock up on supplies now. Don't panic and make a plan while you still have time.
Have you guys seen the ports? If you haven't seen the ports, go ahead and look in your search bar for Los Angeles ports or Seattle ports, because it is being reported they're an absolute ghost town. The last ships are coming in at the end of this month. And on the East Coast, it's not getting any better. The last ship coming in from China is targeted for May 10th. And if you look at ports in China, the largest port in China, it is an active, busy hub. So it shows you it's not something that's sweeping the globe here. This is not COVID. This is more directed. This is direct effect of Donald Trump and his tariffs. And I'm not going to come in here and fearmonger and say we're not going to have anything, but you better believe if ships are not docking and they are not taking goods off those ships and they are shipping empty, 40+% of ships are shipping like empty or close to empty. What do you think that's going to happen? The only logical conclusion is there are going to be less goods on the shelves. And it's not only going to be, your toys and electronics and things that you can get by without during a recession. It's going to be food, vegetables, fruits, grains, all sorts of things like that we import. We import a lot of beef and pork and things like that. Even though we have it here, we also import a lot of food as well, a lot of other meats from other countries. And you're going to see a drastic change in the next coming month. In the grocery store, in the retail shop, Walmart CEOs, Target, Home Depot, those CEOs sat down with Trump and said, look, the shelves are going to be barren. We are going to be in a huge issue. And even if he stops the tariff today and says, oh boy, it was a huge mistake, that doesn't just turn around. So I myself am going to be going to Costco and buying some of those staples, making sure I have a big ass bag of rice, some beans, toilet paper.
Hey friends, I gotta let you in on this secret. It's not really a secret. The heat press deal of the century is going on right now. Every single dollar that you spend on a heat press at transferexpress.com is going to get added right back into your account to be used on custom heat transfers. Like this auto claim, $1,950. We'll give you $1,950 back in your account to use on custom screen printed transfers, or DTF transfers, or hybrid transfers, or puff ink transfers, or reflective transfers, or screen print transfers. Easy.
Whatever, I'm not saying panic shop, don't panic shop, but just make sure maybe you buy an extra of what you normally buy. Get yourself a little bit of extra shelf-stable foods so that you make sure you have something, because these ports, they're empty. That's not hyperbole, that's not fear-mongering, that's just the truth. And 2 and 2, you're not going to have those things on the shelf. We're they're not getting them in from these countries. When the ports are empty, the shelves will be empty. And this is all thanks to one man and his stubborn ignorance, just absolute nonsense, and having no understanding of how anything works in this world. We saw it the first time around, and we knew it was going to be worse the next time. So here we go. Welcome to Trump's world.
America's about to learn how good we used to have it, because the ports are currently empty. I'm starting to see the most packed port, which is I think the New York port is, and the LA port, basically in the Long Beach port, they're all basically empty. Every single port is empty, and I'm not surprised because all the big companies have ordered massive amounts of product or produce right before the tariffs actually hit. So you will start seeing the ports being super empty, right? Everybody was always asking like, oh, how come we haven't seen the immediate impact, right? And I actually posted a video about me going to a Ford dealership to go buy an F-150 and a brand new one. And they were trying to get rid of all of the trucks on hand because they told me that, like, yeah, once these new trucks get off of the ships, right, they get off of the cargo, they're gonna get hit with the tariff tax, right? Now, because that impact is more than likely gonna come. What are we in April, May?
Yep.
You're gonna start really feeling this by June, because all the ports are empty, right? Even the dealerships are telling you, like, hey, buy a car now because you're gonna feel the new impact change in the next month or two, right? When the new shipment comes in. So, the delay, it's not an immediate change, right? You don't put a tariff on something and immediately there's a rise in prices. You only have a rise in prices when you're actually, once the tariffs happen, then you order, then that order comes in, it's gonna be delayed, right? It doesn't come in the next day because it's coming from China or outside of the US. So you're gonna feel that impact possibly within the next month or 2 months. And it's gonna be pretty hard, man, because I already know when I'm gonna go see these new F-150s, they're selling for, 50 grand. And I was quoted, I think, like 40 grand out the door. And I said, if I come back in 2 months in June to buy that same F-150, I'm going to be quoted around $60,000 for the same truck. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I think at minimum, everything in the U.S. is going to go up. I would say
everything's going up.
10%, 20%, and you're going to feel this within the next 60 days or so.
If you're an Asian American, I need you to lock in right now. It's me.
Now that guy said 20%. I think 20% is a little bit low. Maybe more like 25 to 30% on everything imported and exported, at least. I know it sucks, but it is what it is.
Reported that the ports are empty and shipments aren't coming in. And sooner rather than later, the shelves are going to start to become empty. Once that happens, there will be a new rhetoric, okay, that China's to blame. Because a certain administration will never admit fault. They're not going to blame Trump. They're not going to blame the Republican Party. Who are they going to blame? They're going to blame China. And everyone who has been hunted so far, we will be hunted as well. Think back to
unfortunately.
COVID. Think about the atmosphere that we were living under. Imagine that again. But now they have a backing of a government that's willing to deport and dismiss without due process. So let that sink in.
Sad but true.
I need you guys to be ready. Always travel with your documents. Have a buddy system. Don't travel alone. If you get attacked, report it.
I want to say this loud and clear, which is something I need to do myself. Please, if you can, stock up on toiletries, stock up on food, and stock up on cleaning products. Again, stock up on toiletries, cleaning products, and food.
What's going on? What's happening right now? It's 5:45 p.m. and it's pitch black dark outside. What? I'm tired. This afternoon I went to Starbucks because I had a $5 bill slipped in my car. And it's rare that I have cash because I don't get paid in cash. So I'm like, oh, period. I'll go to Starbucks, get a grunt.
For any American who believes that these tariffs is a good thing so that America can start depending on themselves,
No.
let me let you in on something, honey. Maybe you have been in a hole for the last 100 years, but we don't have the infrastructure to support ourselves. Most of our cars are not even made here.
No.
Okay? We still get most of it made over somewhere else. The parts and things still come from China, even if the plant is here and is put together here. Okay? Do a little bit of research. So you're not just going to bankrupt other countries. No, they're going to be fine because they have the infrastructure to maintain. This is bankrupting America from the inside. Okay? Because
Unfortunately.
Americans don't have the infrastructure to produce what we import. Baby, we barely actually can produce our own freaking electricity. We get electricity from Canada, from the northern part
Actually,
of the United States. So if you think that all these...
And that is true. Half of the New England states get their energy from Canada. I think Windsor, Ontario, somewhere around there, Niagara Falls. Not the Niagara Falls, New York side. There is a Niagara Falls, Canada. So it.
Tariffs and all this, and you're thinking like the war trade is just affecting.
And in case y'all wondering, the tariffs that Trump have put out, as we know, the tariffs are global. It is going to affect trade globally. Listen to what I'm saying. It will globally affect trade. So again, I wish I took this seriously soon as the tariffs came out. I was hoping that he would have changed his mind. Apparently, Trump does not want to change his mind. So again, for anyone who's listening, please stock up on food, stock up on toiletries, stock up on cleaning supplies. Again, thank you.
These tariffs and all this, and you're thinking like the war trade is just affecting foreigners. No, honey, this is American business owners who have dreams that their products that they've created their dream life around have to be imported because America gave up on factory work and all that stuff a long time ago. And all those factories are abandoned. It would take too long to recreate all that infrastructure. So where is this stuff gonna come from? So these same people who saying now, like, oh, Americans need to learn to rely on themselves, so this is a good thing. Okay, we're gonna see how you feel like 6 months from now because when it comes to you and the things that you like, you're gonna feel different about this.
America is about to learn how good we actually used to have it. The ports are empty. Food isn't coming in. Goods are not coming in. Everyone who works in the shipping industry is saying we are about to face a crisis much bigger than the empty shelves during COVID. We have felt entitled in this country. To freedom, to democracy, to human rights, to unlimited food and crap to buy.
Yep.
We got lazy, and we did nothing to maintain those freedoms and those rights. We assumed that other people would.
I never thought I was going to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Capitalism has never benefited the middle class. It has benefited the government and corporations. Let me repeat again. Capitalism has only benefited the government and corporations. It has not one time benefited the middle class.
And those rights. We assumed that other people would do it. We stopped valuing our own education. We stopped reading. We stopped being kind to other people. We got completely hell-bent on having more stuff, on having more money, on having more whatever.
Consumerism.
More fucking Botox in our faces. It's a false ladder that we were taught to climb.
And this country has been ran by capitalism and consumerism. And look where it's got us.
And I don't know if this current iteration of Americans has it in them to survive the Great Depression, Part 2, but I don't know if we're going to have a choice, babe.
Y'all know the last day for China to send a ship to the U.S. is, I think, May 11th or May 12th, a couple weeks away. I don't know if y'all knew that. Y'all know where we get most of our stuff from? China. Actually, I dare to say probably 90% of what we bring into this country is from China. My dad owns a trucking company, and I can tell you that the ports are empty. They are laying off dock workers because ain't nothing to move in. They're laying off truck drivers because ain't no products to move. People are already showing you that the stores are bare. I really don't think y'all contemplating what's going on, what's coming down, what's about to happen. If you thought COVID was bad, you're not ready for the Great Depression Part 2. And I know people are like, oh, auntie, you always talking about gardening and growing your own food and doing all this, and everybody don't have land. Get you some root bags. Let me show you some root bags. Get you some root bags and put them on your deck or put them in the window at your damn house. In the root bags. People grow root vegetables in a root bag. You ain't gotta be fancy like auntie and uncle with all this hydroponics and stuff. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. And y'all, the end is not May, June, and July. Winter is coming early. All right, tea sippers. So as you see, it is getting real out here. It is so much to unpack. It's a lot going on between, these blackouts. You have the trucking industry going through it once again. You have empty store shelves, now empty ports. So it's going to be a cold summer. We can't even say winter because winter's over. It's going to be a cold spring and summer at this point. This is not fear-mongering. I know a lot of y'all love to use that word on my channel. This is a wake-up call. You can sit in the comments and call me a fear-monger all you want to, but again, I'm here for the tea sippers who get it.
How is it fear-mongering when the evidence is already here? If the evidence is there, it's not fear-mongering.
The information, I'm here to bring it to you. I want y'all to know that this is a wake-up call right now. When you combine rising tariffs, halted shipments, and internal layoffs, we're looking at the perfect storm. And I need everybody to pay attention because it's not just going to affect me and my family. It's going to affect everyone here in the States, hell, globally. This is a global issue at this point. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate all the stuff that's going on because it could have all been prevented. But with that being said, have you guys been seeing a lot of changes in your local grocery stores, or is it just me? Have you guys been seeing emptier shelves? Less and less fresh produce? And are you working in trucking? Are you dealing with the layoffs? Are you seeing a change in, retail, supplies not being there and stuff like that? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Please let us know about your experience and what you're going through in the comment section. I look forward to reading down below. Thank you guys once again for supporting my platform. I appreciate it. Love you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces. If you want the latest news in the streets, join us at TuneIn for the sea. Breaking news with integrity.
And I'm going to end it with this. Well, America, I would say we're about to F around and find out, but in my opinion, we already done F'd around and find out. Now, some of y'all already know how bad it's going to be. It potentially can get worse than what we're already thinking of. Now that we F'd around and find out, what are you going to do to survive? I'll see y'all later.